Welcome to Entrepreneurs in Healthcare. I've come to realize that entrepreneurship discussions are long overdue in medicine. I'm pairing up with voices from healthcare that value entrepreneurship and that are willing to come on the screen with me and hold a discussion. I'm hoping that hosting these conversations will open up pathways to making progress in medicine and not making entrepreneurship a bad word. Join along on this series as we dissect entrepreneurship, healthcare, and everything in between. Hey everyone, it's Donna Coriel, and we're here in yet another episode of Entrepreneurs in Healthcare with Dr. Coriel. And I am excited to be welcoming Ann Sommer to the episode. Hi, Ann.
Hi, Dr. Dana.
Hi, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And then I'll let everybody know that's the order we're going to do it. I'll let everyone know how we met, and then I'm going to ask you the question of the hour.
Okay, great. Great. Hi, everybody. I am PA Ann Sommer, physician assistant Ann Sommer. Now, most PAs or physician assistants put the PA behind their name, but I'm starting something new. I put it in front of my name so people don't question, who are you? What do you do? I'm not a doctor. I'm a physician assistant. I'm a medical provider, but I'm a physician assistant. They're similar, but they're different. Now, here's a great thing. I became a PA when a PA wasn't cool. People didn't know what it was, anything. So I've been doing this for 25 years, operating and practicing medicine in multiple specialties. I want you to know something about me, right? I'm what I call an overcorrected outgoing adult, but as a kid, I was super shy. So shy. Dana, if you said my name, I would turn red and I would be like this. But I figured out how to transform, and I help people transform. I help people get unstuck at this point in my new business. And that's using my medical knowledge, my intuition, and life lessons. And it's really working with high achieving adults that are stuck. They're stuck. They want to get out of themselves. Negative thoughts are holding them back. Where are they coming from? How do you advance? You lost your spouse after how many years, and you don't know where to go or what to do. You're starting your own business and you're stuck somewhere. So I have all these skills. And then I have all of these ninja skills, Dr. Dana. Like I do woodworking, I do artwork, I renovated my house, I garden, I insulate. Like, dress me up and make me pretty, but also put me in some dirt and some electric tools, and I'm a happy, happy, happy girl.
I love that from a personal perspective because I am a physician that discovered that I had other hidden talents, and it was late in life, and so I totally can relate to this. And I love um people in science that have other sides to them. It really just makes us not only multifaceted, but more, not just even more interesting people, but it makes us better at what we do.
100%. 100% because in my opinion, and I think general majority would agree with me that as IQ goes up, sometimes common sense goes down. And if we can find that balance and figure out how to relate to our clients and our patients and each other, it just makes you more real. It just makes you more real.
Wow, there's so much I need to dissect there, and there's so much that's ringing true and that we can sort of dive into. But before we do that, the main question of the hour needs to be asked, and that's healthcare, entrepreneurship and healthcare, good or bad?
Good.
I like that. A resounding good. Which I am
Good.
personally in agreement with, although I always say I invite others to the table, even ones that do not agree with me. I do not certainly, don't want to be the only voice in the room. So, okay, good. Let's go from there. Before we dive into this, I just want to say, why is Ann Sommer, PA Ann Sommer? I love that. I love that you did that. I love that you did that. And I love that you it is important for you to state a degree and to state who you are. And I'm so all for that. And that's partly why I built SoMeDocs, was really to have degree transparency, to make it clear to the public who we are and what we have studied, education wise, and really let the public be educated and be empowered in their own decision making nowadays. We are a team at the end of the day. And so I do see fights online and those things with, those of us with different degrees. And at the end of the day, I always say, like, yes, different education, different, skills and abilities. But at the end of the day, we've got to figure out a way to come to the table to work together so that we all respect one another and can heal the patients. At the end of the day, it really is about healing the patients and healing them well in the right way. So that aside, back to the entrepreneurship. How did I meet Ann Sommer and why is she here? It's because Ann Sommer was selected to be part of a speaker lineup of a cancer conference that we're putting together, chaired by Dr. Tiffany Trousseau Sandoval, who's a physician from Sloan Kettering. She graduated from Princeton, and she curated a lineup of, she's an oncologist. She curated a great lineup of speakers on incredible topics. And the conference is actually happening live May 13th to the 18th of 2024. And it's free while it's live. It's 6 days of free virtual content. So you can soak it up in the conference in the comfort of your own living room and in your PJs. But the beauty is that even if you're listening to this podcast or this show after the fact, you could still access it. You can then purchase a ticket for access and access all of the 18 lecture footage. So that said, that was a mouthful.
Yes. Well said.
Yes. And tell me, so how do you see, let's dive and dissect this a bit more. How do you see healthcare being a better place when we incorporate entrepreneurial concepts into it?
Loaded question, Dr. Dana. Loaded question.
We'll be right back. SoMeDocs is building a conference called Empowering Women in the Face of Cancer, Navigating the Path Forward. Take a listen to some of our speakers.
I'll be speaking about menopause and cancer and how do we help women navigate the collateral damages of breast cancer treatment, which often includes premature menopause, surgical menopause, or menopause due to her treatments.
I'm really excited to share with you about what psycho-oncology is. Essentially, in a nutshell, it's mental health and cancer care.
We will begin by discussing the role of nutrition and what impact it can have on your health after cancer. Then we'll review the healthy eating recommendations for cancer thrivers, and we're going to discuss some specific dietary patterns and types of foods that can help optimize your health after cancer. Then we will have a cooking demonstration to show you how to prepare a few tasty and versatile recipes that use foods that nourish you.
I will be sharing with you the latest information on using your own immune system in treating cancer. Between lifestyle interventions and strengthening your immune system, there is so much that you can do to help heal from and prevent recurrence of cancer.
My talk will cover some of the basics of clinical trial design and how drugs move through the approval process. I'll also speak to some of the recent drug approvals in breast cancer and how they're advancing the needle in our care for our patients.
I'll teach you about how you can advocate for yourself, how you can gain interdisciplinary support, and how you can find a sacred space that you can feel comfortable and seen and validated, and learn to figure out how to prioritize what's the most important part of your life right in this moment.
The panel will be comprised of members from patient navigation, financial counseling, and social work. Financial toxicity will be explained, as well as the roles of each of these teams in helping to reduce the financial burden patients and caregivers face.
Real life lessons to reestablish intimacy with yourself and to your partner. I'll give you some tips and tricks of how to talk, how to relate, and let's just make that part of your life more comfortable.
I look forward to speaking with you about radiation in general, how not to fear it, and how it's an effective tool in treating cancers.
You can catch this event live and watch all of our lectures for free, May 13th through 18th, 2024. Otherwise, access the footage on our website at doctorsonsocialmedia.com/conferences. You can catch this event live and watch all of our lectures for free, May 13th through 18th, 2024. Otherwise, access the footage on our website at doctorsonsocialmedia.com/conferences. Now back to the show.
Loaded question, Dr. Dana. Loaded question. Well, okay, dissecting. I do want to dissect MDDO physicians with PA and PAPPs. Because here's my rule, and this is what I teach students, especially, well, really all medical providers, okay, is that you need to know when to lead and you need to know when to follow. And if you're the doctor and it's time to follow your PA, especially one that has 25 years of experience in the operating room and in multiple surgical specialties, and there's an ego there, I need to learn to follow, but I need to hold my own without getting angry, getting defensive, without being insulted. And that, I think, is where the fights come from, right? It's like this disrespect of, but I did this and I did that. Yeah. We all did it. We all went to school. And just because you have a degree doesn't mean you're good at what you do. So get good at what you do and then get over the ego. And that's where you hire people like me, because I get it. Now, entrepreneurs in healthcare. Woo! I mean, we as healthcare providers aren't programmed to be entrepreneurs. We are programmed to really be contracted employees. And for those of us that were brave enough to step out of that, it's a whole new learning curve. Do you agree?
Oh, 100%. I mean, there's so much that's going on in my head about what I can answer, what I can't.
Yes.
Regarding the first point, yes. I mean, I do know that there will be many, many people that are listening to this that will challenge it from so many different perspectives. Of course, every instance is different, right? It all is dependent on the situation. There are many instances when someone is very well versed in their profession and knows exactly what to do and are not listened to because someone may have an ego, and we all know that that's not okay. At the same time, I do think that there are differences in the educational systems and what we learn and how many hours go into it. That doesn't take into account life experience and those kinds of educational factors that are not necessarily packaged into a degree. I think life is nuanced. I think that this fight, so to speak, again, we should be on the same team, but knowing that there is a fight out there, I think this fight is a very complicated one, and I would love to just push that one aside, because clearly neither you nor I are going to get ahead by, focusing on that part. But in terms of entrepreneurship and medicine, I absolutely think so. I think that we have not been taught entrepreneurship concepts. And I think that this is the importance of bringing, for example, someone like you to the table who is conquering that realm and really learning that, you know what, if I can market myself in the right way towards the endpoint goal that I have, then I am more likely to, draw in, whether it's patients or it's clients. Again, they're all like your target audience, right? And I'm not saying that in a bad way or in a sleazy way. Your target audience could simply be the patient that you want to help and heal, because you have the right to do it because you're a healthcare professional, but you still have to market yourself. And I love to kind of focus on that concept and hear what you have to say about how do you market yourself today, regardless of what your endpoint goal is.
Yes. It's a great point. Such a good point. And it's one, who are you as a person? Who are you as a person? Not as a doctor, not as a medical provider, not as a pharmacist, a nurse, a teacher, whatever, it's who are you? What did you struggle with and conquer? And then how does that relate to your profession? And then who are you out to help? Because we go into medicine to help people. We love people. I mean, if you don't, then I think that's a problem, which is kind of funny joke, but You're here to help people. We love to help people. So what is the problem? How are you going to market yourself? I'm not sure I answered the question, but how do you market yourself? You need to figure out who you are. And you need to be comfortable and confident in that, because to put yourself out there in social media and virtual space, there's always going to be somebody critical. There's always going to be somebody who says something about you, about whatever. And they may know you and they may not know you. It doesn't matter. So to market yourself, figure out how to do it. What is your goal? What is your premise? Who are you? Because once you're established and confident in that, you're really bulletproof because you know why you're doing it. And marketing is, people get degrees in marketing. So that I put things out there and then I change and I put this out there and then I put this out there and I put that out there. I'm okay with that though. That's right. Because I'm being me in most of those situations, and when I say most, it's because I'm starting to show things that I normally wouldn't show people. So I don't know. What is your opinion? I would love to hear your opinion.
Yeah. So my opinion, again, I have many, many things to say, but I'm going to pick up on the thing that you started with, which is be yourself. The reason I really love that, where it comes to sort of growing your brand and marketing yourself, is because when you really kind of deep dive into who you are as a person, what your personality is, what you stand for, what you believe in, it really helps to sort of establish a presence, right? Like an online presence or whatever presence, wherever you're building yourself, that's true to yourself. And that's where the word authenticity comes in, right? You're no longer worried about building out your presence and your brand in a way that does not ring true to who you really are, right?
Yes.
You can move forward confidently. You don't have to worry about, not presenting yourself in the way that you truly are. When you really take a deep dive into what you want to show out there and who you really want to be, it can really help with that authenticity factor that makes you comfortable putting yourself out there, right? Because
Yes.
if you don't establish, and by the way, that doesn't mean that you have to put all your cards out on the table, right? You can still, that's the beauty of the online world. And that's what I always, right, teach my colleagues and other humans that are trying to kind of build a brand is you're in control, you're the boss, and you get to decide what you want to share with the rest of the world. Now, that's not to say you should be someone that you're not. You're not going to pretend something. You want to really stay true to who you are and what you believe in, but you get to share what you want. Nobody is going to force you, right? To put something out there that you're not comfortable with. And again, it all goes back to your point of really figure out who you are and what you're trying to build and what you want to share with others out there. So is that something that not only resonates with you, but is how you're moving forward in building a brand out there for yourself?
Yes, 100%. And I think it's important to say this, and it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to pivot shift. It's okay to put this out and then try this. And as medical providers, a lot of times we're not trained to say, I don't know, I'll find out, I was wrong, those type of things. And that has to do with who are you as a person and what are you comfortable with? And that it's okay to put a message out in different avenues. Or if something is like, I'm going to try this, and you do that messaging and branding, and then you think, no, I'm actually going to call it this. It may be confusing to some, but we're all looking for those clients in the ocean that get our voice, that we connect with, that are drawn to what we have to give them. And sometimes it takes a little trial and error. But as we said, if you're always yourself and you're always true to who you are, you're never going to you shouldn't feel like you failed or you want to take it back because you're being you.
Well, and I think that that's also one of the differences between actually practicing in healthcare and practicing entrepreneurship, right? Is that in entrepreneurship, you can pivot a lot, and actually pivoting is very healthy in entrepreneurship because you're constantly sort of experimenting with, you know, different arms of your business and your entrepreneurial mindset, and you're figuring out, well, does this work? Does this not work? Should I take this back? Should I change tomorrow? Should I change in a month? You can't really do that, especially with medical practice, right? I can't really do that because it's more algorithmical, where, you know, you have to rely on scientific studies that have proven things in order to treat your patients. If we're going to give them a medication after we've done a trial of lifestyle modifications for something, for example, I'm going to need to base my clinical decision making on research and less sort of on gut feelings, because those, you know, aren't evidence based. And so that's the difference between clinically practicing, where you can't really afford those mistakes. Obviously, human lives are in our hands, versus entrepreneurship, where the concepts are different and we can make mistakes, and those mistakes actually make us stronger. I guess you can say that, you know, no matter where you are in life.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I love this. I love this, Dr. Dana, because you study your practice. You go to college or a tech or on the job, right? To learn skills, to learn facts, to learn techniques, to learn whatever. And that is, you have to have it. Now, if you take that and you start to incorporate your growth and knowing how to take common sense, intuition, life skills into that, then that is where you become stellar at your job. Not perfect. Nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. You ask 10 people one question, you're going to get 10 opinions, even in healthcare. It's just the way it is. But I love that I've been doing this for 25 years. And I love that somebody can walk in and I can listen to, like, that was a weird comment for a man to say on the scale that his weight goes up and down. And then I walk in the office and he's this fit guy. And I was like, you know, you made this weird comment about your weight. You obviously look like you have it handled. And he's like, no, if I eat, I get swollen. It takes me 3 days to get unswollen. And he has high blood pressure. And so we're talking. Now, my head is saying, if something doesn't make sense, there's a reason. If something doesn't make sense, there's a reason. This guy's on like 3 blood pressure medications. So I pull up to date and we're talking and I'm like, let's do this. Well, guess what? Tested him. He has high aldosterone. So the part of the gut is important, but not everybody has that. And I just love that. Look, if it doesn't make sense, there's a reason. And you need to look for that. You need to take the facts and the evidence, and you need to be willing to open the book and say, I remember 6 pieces of this puzzle, and the other 4, you and I are going to figure out as we talk, and I'm going to make notes and figure this out. And it kills me at times when people come to see me in women's health or where I used to work because they saw 3 people for whatever back pain. And now they're coming to me for their uterus. And I'm looking through these notes like, what's going on here? You know, it's that ability to use your gut part and say, this doesn't make sense.
That's interesting. There's actually been a few articles that I've written for SoMe Docs recently about AI, which is clearly like a trending topic in healthcare today. And that's come up because at the end of the day, I feel like as much as we move towards using AI and having quicker answers thanks to computers today, AI can't really, to date, replace that connection and that like human intuition that requires more than just a reply. Maybe like the instance that you gave where the person just kind of gives you an answer, but looking at him and fitting him all in kind of just doesn't sit right with you. I also want to say that, we live in a world where, a lot of patients aren't feeling like they are fully being listened to and heard.
They're not.
Right.
Yeah. But why? But
Well,
why?
listen, from my perspective, I mean, I can tell you that, listen, I have my own lived experience, so not anyone's lived experience. From my lived experience, I can say that, first of all, sure, there's different personalities. There's some doctors, for example, that just won't really listen much because they're just, maybe they're a crappy people. I don't know. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're impatient. Maybe they're that day they just had something bad happen to them, and because we're humans too. But I can confidently tell you that a large, if not the majority, a large percentage of doctors today who don't necessarily fulfill the listening, expectations of patients, that the reason that that's happening is because of the structure of the healthcare system. The fact that if we work for a hospital, for a large system, that that sessions are timed, that we are told what to do, that we are not the boss. And so again, we do not make the rules. And at the end of the day, when you're a cog in the wheel, as what I'm describing, you're a cog in the wheel. And at the end of the day, the cog is not the person that oversees it, right?
No.
It's the people with the joysticks that I wrote about that are controlling it. So again, it's an indirect answer, but the reason people aren't getting a lot of these doctors' time isn't because usually these doctors don't care. It's because they're overwhelmed in a system that is broken. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. 100%. I was a cog in that wheel, and it's impossible. We have people running a healthcare business that don't know healthcare. They don't know healthcare. We have people running a business that are looking at our schedules and saying, "Oh, you have white space there," even though we fit in 4 patients in a 2-patient slot, took all the calls, did the triage, took over the scheduling. Now we have to do the labs. It's ridiculous.
We'll be right back. Take a listen to the private practice conference that we've lined up just for you.
I'm going to talk to you about lease negotiations and purchase negotiations.
I'll talk about how to prepare, plan, and organize your personal finances when you are starting out on your own private practice.
We're going to talk about how to apply this information to detect and prevent fraud.
This talk is for doctors who are fed up with the overregulation of patient care.
And I'm excited to teach you the ins and outs of how to build a thriving referral network and Facebook group.
And how to build in compliance efforts and strengthen your negotiation tactics. Because I want you to make money and I want you to stay safe.
I'm really looking forward to talking with you about creating and retaining a high-functioning team.
About the psychological and emotional things that undoubtedly come up as you reach certain barriers.
Marketing yourself as a professional in the world of today.
Form a virtual corporation and use your practice skills in a virtual environment that allows you to thrive without having to worry about managing overhead, managing a staff, or even managing a building.
Top mistakes in credentialing and those key metrics you're going to want to monitor in order to increase your revenue in your practice.
How to overcome your fear and move from your medical practice now into a private practice.
I'll share 3 distinct skills that when you use them, you can create and maintain a long-lasting, passionate marriage while becoming a very successful practice owner.
My talk called Creating a Vision and Applying It to Build Your Practice is going to help you streamline your process and create the practice of your dreams.
Stop trading the value you provide to patients for cost.
I'm going to teach you how to learn your value and your worth, how it is you get paid and what you actually cost, and how to train your sniffometer and know when to leave.
You can catch this event live for free or access the footage after it's over anytime by purchasing a ticket on our website at doctorsonsocialmedia.com/conferences. Now back to the show.
It's ridiculous. The expectations of the people making the rules are not, they've never run the play. They have no idea. They ask you because they have to be courteous, but they don't listen. They don't hear, or they're not willing to put on their tennis shoes and track your day and say, you need to come and live and see why it's not working. It's not working. So broken, so broken. And in the system, and we know it's, you know what, Dr. Dana, this is the answer why we need healthcare people in entrepreneurship. Because for a long time, I would ask so many people, like, what would it take to fix it? What does it take to fix it? And we get what we just said, right? Well, this is broken, this is broken, this is broken. We know that. We know it's broken. So what does it take to fix it? Well, one of the fixes are people like us going out on our own, not to fix the system, but to provide something that we no longer can do inside the system, because you just can't do it inside the system. I was doing the job of 4 people, but when they wanted me to do the job of 6 people, I just broke. I was like, I don't even know how to get in the computer. You want me to sign a lab that used to be my MA's job a week ago? And I don't even know how to get there. Don't know how to get there. And that's burnout. I think the real definition of burnout is you don't even know you're burnt out. You're just spinning, surviving, getting home, falling asleep in your scrubs, sleeping in your scrubs, getting up, going back to work in your scrubs, or whatever it is. It's so heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
It is. No, I totally agree with you. And I think that the cycle needs to somehow be broken. And we need people that serve as examples that have tried breaking from the system, but have done so not only successfully, but that we continue to kind of dissect it to make sure that we perfect that, right? That we make sure that doing so still, delivers quality care to patients, still, doesn't marginalize anyone, is still available to everyone out there. And so again, I think that when people like you come to the table and speak entrepreneurship, and others come to our podcast and kind of share their entrepreneurial ventures and how they make it work, and then you combine that with the conferences that we're running, not necessarily the one you'll be speaking in, but for example, we have a private practice conference coming up where we're bringing together, experts that have either started their own practices successfully, or those, experts of the trade that can teach doctors how to do it in a better way. So I hope that you will also take part in it. I mean, I definitely want to build a conference that's for social media, marketing and networking for those in the healthcare profession, because it's just so important that we lean on each other and that we kind of get to know one another and we start to understand who's doing what in this field. Right? Does that sound like something that could help?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I did women's health for the last 14 years, and then not a little stint, but oncology, gynecology, oncology. And the fact that we're in 2024 and we still don't discuss women's health issues or just life lessons, what I call, the life lessons, like the periods, the puberty, the kissing, the dating, the everything, all the way up to death, is what I call life lessons, which I always say I learned 1 of 3 ways: the wrong way, the hard way, or through my friends. So, and I feel like a lot of the population is still in that realm. And so making it fun and making it not weird and removing those society limitations is important to me. But it's that same thing of, what do you bring to the table, and market yourself. And I love what you're doing. What you're doing is amazing. It's amazing because there isn't, as far as I know, there isn't another platform like this. So kudos to you.
Amazing. So much. Yeah, there isn't really one like it. And honestly, I sometimes have trouble explaining to people exactly what the platform does, because and the reason really is because it's so innovative and it's so different than what exists out there that you can't accurately describe it, right? I mean, I try to explain to people that I can't always, right? I mean, I can explain what I'd like to achieve through it, right? The aim of SoMeDocs is to promote the autonomy of the individuals in healthcare. But as far as how that's done, right, you have to kind of just go to the website and start looking around to really understand like the significance of what we're doing. And again, taking a little teeny part of it, that's the conferences section where we really are bringing together, right, in little in its own projects. Like we're taking different projects, we're taking different conferences, and we're building them to be amazing resources that can be clicked into at any point. So we're going to be doing that cancer conference. Again, I'm just the organizer. I do not claim to be an expert in cancer, but we're bringing together oncologists, and we're bringing together art therapists and relationship experts and all those kinds of experts that have to do with oncology. And we're having, our chair is curating it to make sure that it comes to fruition in the way that she envisioned it. I'm so proud of what she's doing. And again, it can be, and it can be accessed at any point, even after the live, which is kind of like the creation of a book where each of you gets a chapter, right?
Yes. Yeah. And this is the mind-blowing part. You just said like the boom, but the big boom is it's virtual. And it spans so many parts of the cancer journey. And it's not just for the patient going through cancer, it's really for their partners, their families, other people, because there's so many pieces to it. And the fact that it's really global, right? It's can go anywhere. It's international. For it's $149 if you want the 6 months. It's free during the live. So for $149, who can get that information of specialties in your living room, in your jammies, dress up if you want, but that you don't have to fly somewhere, go to a hotel, eat out, and be present and sit in maybe a chair that's not comfortable, especially if you're the one that had cancer, new, past, present, whatever it is. That alone, that's groundbreaking.
Thank you. Totally. And just to give perspective to those that are listening and to kind of give the timeline of how we built this, it was originally like the other conferences, we wanted to kind of make it all the same. And so originally it had a $249 ticket and you had access to it for 6 months, but we actually decided to make it free while it was live because we realized that there were people who might want to tune into it and access it and don't necessarily want to pay. And that was certainly okay. We want to reach as many people as possible. And so we made it free while it was live. And then we lowered that cost to $149 to really just make it more affordable. And so I'm so appreciative of everybody that's involved in creating this, this resource. And and I'm hoping that we create not only this resource, but many other resources that the public at large can really use and kind of, it's a whole new world out there. Like you were speaking about the whole virtual concept. And that's the beauty of it, is that the virtual world is so powerful in that it can connect us in so many ways, right? It can connect professional to professional so that we can network more and grow our brand presence and our careers. We can bring them to the next level. But it also brings together the professional and the member of the public, the non-professional, so to speak. We're all patients at some point in our lives. So it brings us together in that it allows you to kind of look beyond the doctor that's sort of treating you regularly on a regular basis and kind of maybe see what other doctors out there are doing and can you get, in with them, et cetera.
Yes. Yes.
Very cool. Well, I am really appreciative that you hopped on with us to kind of share your take on entrepreneurship. And I'm also appreciative that you've joined the lineup of speakers, and I can't wait for you to speak. Can you tell us just really quickly what your lecture is going to be about?
Yes, it is the cancer journey and intimacy. How does it affect intimacy and sexuality? Which that's scary, right? You say intimacy and sexuality and people start to like
For those that are listening in the podcast, she just literally like pulled herself down.
Right. Yes, it's like, oh, I'm hiding. I don't want to see you. I don't want to talk about it. All right. So here's the beautiful part of intimacy and sexuality is that number one, I make it fun. Okay. We're going to have fun. And I have what I call Annisms, Dr. Dana, which are little like annotations that I've made up to explain and describe these horrible things that we go through, like the pain or blah, blah, blah. So it's going to be for the patients that have cancer, and it's very general. We're not just focusing on female cancers. It's going to be broad enough that everybody can get something from it. And family, friends, whatever. But that is what I am talking about.
Amazing. And I just want to kind of stress on something that Ann is doing, which I think so many of us can learn from. And that's really just creativity. I mean, she's clearly bringing creativity into the mix when she used even just the word. I mean, the personality is very creative, which I really love, but it's even just using that Annisms, right? She took her name and she put an ism next to it, and she's incorporating that into the lessons that she's going to teach into her lectures, right? It just makes your lesson more fun. It makes your brand more light and fun. And it really helps us to build a presence where, people, we're talking about a really serious topic here, cancer, and yet it's okay to infuse a little lightness into it because we're all human at the end of the day, and we really want to find ways to connect with one another.
We do. We do. We all need love, shelter, and there's one more.
I don't know
Love,
that.
shelter. Yeah, there's the three.
There's a saying we need to
protection. Oh, which is kind of funny, talking about sexuality. Make sure you use protection.
That's right. That's right. I love that. When needed, unless you're trying to, get pregnant in a healthy relationship, et cetera. All right.
Right.
Love it. And thank you so much for hopping on. We are excited to have you be a speaker at the conference that's coming up. I will, of course, as always, provide a bio in the show notes underneath where you are hearing or watching this. And very excited and wishing you luck on your entrepreneurial venture.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so fun to be here, and it's so fun to watch you and your excitement and everything that you say when we talk or I listen to your podcasts and stuff. Big kudos to you again for using your talents and your own personal gifts to help all these people out there. I love that.
I try, and I know you try, and you know what? We all do the best that we can, and we grow together, and hopefully we grow amicably, and everybody, comes to the table. Back to what we were talking about earlier, hopefully we all come to the table together as a team, and the end point in mind. In healthcare, that's the patient. So, and thank you so much for joining us, and goodbye to everyone who's listening.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Dana.
Thanks so much for listening.